I'm a self-taught filmmaker. I never went to film school. I never studied filmmaking in any way. I started making films when I was a kid, when I was, I think, 7 years old. Making films using my dad's Super 8 camera and little action figures, doing stop motion films, a little bit of animation and a certain amount of live action. And I just carried on making films as I grew up. And over the years they got bigger, hopefully better, but more elaborate. And there never really was a period in my life where I completely stopped doing that. So I was always moving up eventually from Super 8 to 16mm films. And then I think what following represents is kind of the peak of what I was able to do on my own or just with friends, just using our own resources and borrowing equipment and sort of using the things around us to make a film.
Everybody, when they talk about you, get this sense of a young person, a kid, early on, falling in love with movies. Tell me about that.
Well, that's totally true. I mean, the thing is that it's not as bizarre as people keep making it, or as special as people keep making it. Because, like, you know, just remember back when you were in school and stuff, you know, and even in elementary school, there's always, you always have kids that have like a natural inclination towards something. Yeah. All right, some kids is sports, some kids it's study, some kids is cars, some kids is drawing. You know, there's always that kid in the back of the room, always like drawing, doing sketches. And with me, it was movies. The only difference is I had kind of this like weird tunnel vision, where it's like once I got into it, I didn't have room for anything else, all right, you know, as a kid. And it was like, and it actually even reflected in my schoolwork, you know.
You did so well at school, but you name every character, every plot line.
Exactly.
And evaluate every movie.
I couldn't spell anything. I couldn't remember anything, all right, but I could go to a movie and I knew who starred in it, who directed it, you know, who wrote it, who directed it, who wrote it, everything. And it was also, but it's also funny, I've had something, and I guess I still have it to this day, that stopped me in school a little bit, quite a bit actually, where it's like anything that I'm not interested in, I can't even feign interest. I can't do just this little bit to just get by, all right? What that store was, more or less, is not a film school. It was kind of a closer equivalent would be, it was like my Village Voice. And I got to be Jay Hoberman. I got to be Andrew Saris at the store, you know, be like the little Mr. Critic, you know, at the store, putting films in people's hands and arguing my points of why this movie was good or why that movie was bad and everything. But the way I got the job was, it wasn't like I got this job and all of a sudden saw all these movies. And then just decided to, and then I became knowledgeable about them, and hey, let me make some of them. It was like I got the job because I already was a film expert, so to speak. I mean, that's why they hired me.
Because you had just studied on your own, not because you went to school. But what does your success now say? I'm a reporter, journalist. I mean, there's always this argument, people come to me, should I go to journalism school? What do you say to those people who are getting ready to go to the University of Southern California or UCLA or NYU Film School, and they look at you and there's no school there. You were, as they say, quote, self-taught. There was a passion to learn, a passion to watch, you know. It came out of you early on falling in love with film.
Well, that's the most important thing that I think.
To love the business.
You have to. You have to. You know,
there's nothing else. You don't know what you'd do if you weren't in film.
No, I never set up a situation. I never set up a fallback situation because I didn't want to fall back. You know, I wanted to have to keep eating at it. You know, if there's one thing that I've done that I'm like the proudest of everything, all right, is the fact that people talk about, wow, you've had such success and it's just been so overnight and whatever. Well, whatever success I've got has come after like 8 years of just nothing working out as trying to get a job in films.
What didn't work out?
Well, it's like basically what I tried to do
was... Give
was...
some sense of rejection.
It was like this was going to be the thing that like set me up, all right? And I'd worked 3 years on it. And I was able to look at it in a realistic way after being horribly depressed for a little bit, but only a short little bit, was the fact that, well, this was my film school. All right, and this was the best film school a person could possibly have. I mean, I actually, instead of like going to school and paying a ton of money to be allowed to use some of their crappy equipment, all right, I actually went out and actually tried to make a feature film.